Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Shannon Shy. This is our third installment to my series Q&A with Shannon about OCD recovery. So it's St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Today's question is a really, really, really good one, as they all are. But I get this question a lot. Um, Here it is. Here is an anonymous question for you. How can family members help? For example, I know I shouldn't help with my son's rituals, but if he asks me to wash a clothing item separate because it may have something on it that he doesn't want to get on other clothes, I usually will do it because if I don't, then he will, and he will most likely wash it multiple times, wasting more water. So it's easier if I just do it. Or he wipes his phone with alcohol wipes. He may ask me to wipe it off, so I do it because I'll use one wipe. Whereas if he is doing it, he will literally use 10. So it's sometimes easier to just do something for him because either way, he is going to do it. And when he does it, it will even be more wasteful. So it's a great question, and I get it a lot because OCD affects everybody in the household. Right? So we're not just talking about your children here who might have OCD. We're talking about any loved one in the household. Could be your spouse. And it even goes beyond the household. Could be friends, right? We have friends that have OCD and they tend to ask for us to perform their compulsions, right? Could be a roommate, on and on. So what do you do? My own personal experience with this is when I suffered from OCD really badly. My wife and I were early in our marriage. We had two little boys, 5 and 1. They weren't really tuned in to what was going on with me. Um, my 5-year-old observed some behaviors, but they weren't really tuned in. My wife was tuned in, and I used to ask her to perform a lot of my compulsions. Right, so the responsibility wouldn't be on me. It would just be, honey, you please check the house before we leave. Make sure the door's locked. Make sure everything's off. Um, we'd be driving down the road, and I would look at something, and I would say, "Do you think that that was a body back there, or do you think that's a problem that that electrical outlet is not, looking up to snuff?" And my wife would do it. Right, she would do it just to appease me and to get us moving on to the next thing. And of course, for me, it never really got us onto the next thing because I'd be thinking about it. Um, but she would always do it. One day, my psychologist told me, he said, you can no longer ask your wife to perform your compulsions. And so I told her, and I was like, oh man, I told her, I can't ask you to do this anymore. And it was like a liberation for her because she no longer had to do it. And she would tell me, no, that's on you. You're, you're going to have to figure out whether to do it or not, but I'm not doing it. Right. And it was great advice. It was tough on me, but it was great. And it helped me in my recovery. There are two good books out there by gentlemen who I know personally, um, and they're leaders uh, in the field of OCD treatment and recovery. The first is Dr. John Abramowitz. He's a PhD. His book is called Family Guide to Getting Over OCD, subtitle Reclaim Your Life and Help Your Loved Ones. And then John Hirschfield, marriage and family therapist. His book is called When a Family Member Has OCD, subtitle Mindfulness and Cognitive Behavioral Skills to Help Families Affected by Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. You can get those, just go on the internet and look them up. Both great, great guys, and like I said, leaders in this field. And I'm not trying to sell my course here, but on my in my online course, I interviewed Dr. Abramowitz. he does a 1 hour interview covering, he uses a PowerPoint in the interview, covering all of the, I think, the key points that you could probably find in his book. Um, um, but there's a cost for that. But you can go to ocdrecoveryturningpoints.com and get access to the course. You can buy that module individually, or of course, you can buy the whole course. But Dr. Abramowitz is really, really good in this interview, and he hits it hard. So if you don't have time to read a book, I encourage you to read the book and both of the books. They're great. But if you don't have the time to do that, there's an hour version of Dr. Abramowitz on my website. So I will see you next time. Thank you all for participating in this. I hopefully it will be helpful to people, insightful, and keep sending your questions, and I will get to them. All right. Bye bye.